back to my channel. I am sitting here on my bed in the final legs of pregnancy, prepping my home birth kit. So I thought, why not turn on the camera, show you what I'm packing, show you what I'm putting aside, and give you guys a little bit of an insight. I haven't completely packed everything, but I will make sure and link my little template with a home birth checklist down below. My midwife is actually going to be bringing a lot of the things that I don't have here today. But what I'm going to do, I'm looking here because I've got a big pile of stuff on my bed. What I'm going to do is work through the things that I do have, and if there's anything that you think that I've missed or anything that you think that is an absolute must-have that I haven't packed this time round, let me know what your favourites have been down below. I had planned for a home birth last time and had very different things in my kit. Some things I didn't use, some things I did use. So this is sort of a tried and tested kit this time round. You don't need to bring heaps. You don't need to pack heaps. You don't need to buy heaps. Once you have a few towels, some maybe nice fresh sheets or pajamas to get back into afterwards, that's all you need. We are made to birth our babies, so you don't by any means need to buy any of the things that I'm going to be talking about, but some of these things are just nice to have. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dive into this stuff, pick them up as I go along, explain what they're for, and then pop them into the big plastic tub that I have put aside for my husband to sort of repack and go through so that he knows where things are if for some reason I would need them during my labour or the birth of this little baby. So the first thing that's sort of catching my eye is my rebozo, which I've actually been using already, and that is this lovely sort of woven shawl. It's a nice sort of non-stretchy material, and this is used for getting baby in an optimal position. Last time I actually had an OP labour and an OP birth, so that meant that baby was back to back and that I had a really long labour. So I'm really hoping that this time I can avoid that and have a much easier experience, because a long labour is not easy on your body. So that has been something that we've actually been using already every evening, so I just brought that up especially for this video. That, along with my birthing ball, which I'm not even going to try and pick up and fit into this frame, but I've been sitting on that sort of day and night instead of my normal office chair. I haven't quite finished at work yet, as you can see, so that's been something that I've been using. I'll probably just stay in the birth space, which I'm envisaging that I'm going to labour somewhere in and around the sitting room. That's where our birth pool is going to be, so I can't imagine that these things will go any much further from there. The next thing, how am I going to know which ones I've gone through? Baby brain. I'll just have to try and remember. So the next thing then is I've actually just gotten these yesterday. It's a shower curtain, and this is not what you think it is. This is actually to double make the bed. So it means if I do decide that I want to come upstairs and labour up here and make a little bit of a mess, that we can make the bed once, put the shower curtain over the top, make the bed again, so we can just strip off that top layer, throw that into the wash, and not have to be fumbling around for fresh sheets. It also works really nicely from this stage, because if my waters were to release at this point, we wouldn't be fussing about the mattress getting wet. So that's a lovely little hack or tip. So from sort of 36 weeks onwards, double making the bed. Key one there. The next thing is these sweet little AirPods, or well, they're a version of AirPods. I will link my Amazon storefront down below, and that has these exact ones in it, but I've been using these to listen to my hypnobirthing, and I actually plan on using these to listen to my hypnobirthing or my music playlist that I have for birth and labour. I'll see, can I link that one down below too. So, oh my gosh, I'm so breathless. Whew. Oh my gosh, I thought this baby was going to like come out of my ribs and my lungs. Turns out that wasn't part of their plan yet. We have not dropped at all. So making sure that you have a think about what way you want to listen to, whether it's your music or your hypnobirthing or your affirmations during your labour. It might well be that you want to listen to all of these bits and pieces with whoever else is in the room, and you want to share that experience with them. So maybe a Bluetooth speaker, something that's, you know, fully charged, ready to go. Or if you want to get into sort of your own space, noise cancelling headphones are great, making sure that they are waterproof if you plan on going into the shower with them. The next thing is lip balm. this is in any and everyone's hospital or home birth toolkit. One of the biggest things that I found as a coping mechanism for the sensations of labour was my breath. As a hypnobirthing instructor, it's something that is very much in my toolkit, and possibly would be the only thing that I wouldn't give up. It definitely made a huge difference to my birth experience. And when you were using that sort of either your up breathing or your sort of, you know, whatever other term that you like to use, or your own instructor likes to use, you get very dry lips, all of that mouth breathing. So that's really important, along with sort of hydration of your lips and your skin, hydration of your body. So making sure that you have I should have filled this up, this is one of the little click up ones, but it's a straw one. So it means that if you are in all fours position maybe, or you're in a position that you are maybe in the bath or whatever it might be, that you don't have to sit fully upright to be able to drink from it. Your partner can kind of assist you in doing that. That or a nice flexible straw just from a cup is perfect. So that's really handy. This is actually from Tesco's, I think. The next one is actually on that sort of topic of hydration. I got the lazy route. Last time I went out of my way and created this beautiful sort of labour aid drink. This time I got the flat Lucozade Sports, and I'm just going to add to them these little rehydration sachets, which actually, can you see them? They're the sort of, it's sort of like a Diorolite, but this particular one has a little bit of probiotic in it, and it also has a little bit of calcium and magnesium in it. So that means that it's just the same way, you know, any other muscle, you wouldn't want to be sort of cramping when you are doing anything that's terribly sort of exhaustive. Say like you wouldn't want a cramp in your calf when you're running a marathon. Your uterus is also a muscle, so you want that to be working as efficiently as possible. And calcium sort of is best pals with magnesium in terms of increasing its sort of uptake and its absorption, but the calcium itself works for sort of maximizing the contractility. So that's the ability for the muscle to contract and relax, which is what our uterus is doing. So we want to make sure that we are supporting all of that. So a nice combination of sugars and then those electrolytes as well. So I just crush up the calcium and magnesium tablet, add the Diorolite solution, and then slurp away on those. I always recommend leaving half in the freezer and half in the fridge, so that because labour is really sort of hot work, you can get really quite warm. So one of the things that's really nice is a nice cold drink. So I always recommend having 2 in the freezer, and they can kind of sort of defrost as you need them. So that's another nice thing to have on standby. The next thing is a liner for the birth pool. So this is something that while I am borrowing or renting a birth pool, I actually bought my own liner, and I would recommend everyone do this. This is from La Bassine. It's the birth pools company, and they are essential if you're going to be using a birth pool that isn't your own, that isn't brand new. So I would always recommend these, and it's nice to kind of have it ready to rock, just in case. The other thing that goes hand in hand with that, again, not massively glamorous, is a little, this is actually just a sort of a fishing net. It hasn't been used before for anything at all, but this is for catching anything extra that might be floating in the birth pool that you might not want to be there. Another thing that I found really nice last time was, along with my breathing and the birth pool itself, was to have someone pour water over my lower back. And last time we had just sort of cups and saucers and whatever was there. So this time I have cracked out this little fella and put that aside. So I've given that a really good wash. It's actually from IKEA, I think. Yeah. So this is going to be lovely for a sort of sustained pour for the duration of my surge. Another thing that I have ready to rock, this is going to be quite a long video, isn't it, is this is the L10s. It's the TENS machine that I absolutely loved, particularly for early labour, and then I hopped into the birth pool. So this is fantastic. If you want to learn a little bit more about how this works exactly, do check out the video that I have all about the TENS machine and why it is such a magical tool for birth. So that will give you a little bit more information. The next thing is snacks, and I maybe should do a whole video on sort of eating and drinking in labour, but for me, I always think you wouldn't want to run a marathon without being sort of well fueled, and the research very much so backs up fuel and hydration during labour. So for me, I've picked out a couple of things. I picked out some unhealthy and some slightly healthier. So I always find that the kiddies aisle is actually a really good aisle to go to when it comes to sort of slightly more healthy versions of things. So we love these in our house. They are the Yo-Yo Bears, and it's literally a fruit whip. There's nothing else in it, but a nice little boost of sugar, but sort of the fibre, and it means it's slightly sort of slower release. And then these guys are some sort of chocolate or cacao rather, and cacao covered seed bars. It's a lovely source of sort of protein, lovely source of fibre, lovely source of fat. One of these, when you feel like you can stomach it during labour, is a really nice way to kind of give you that sustained energy. Not so sustained energy, and that's the last thing in terms of food, I think, is some cola bottles. I have been craving fizzy sour things this pregnancy, as well as like anything salty. So that's my nice little sort of snack stash. The next thing is, I didn't really think this through, hopefully you didn't get a bum flash there, is a nice big pile of towels, and I have 5 of these. I've gone for mostly darker colours, and if they're not darker colours, they are old towels that I don't mind getting messed up. Birth can be a little bit messy, but equally, you know, I mightn't use these at all. So just having those on standby is really, really good. Certainly 2 for baby, 2 for mum minimum, but 5 is a nice number to have. And then I always keep one sort of on the radiator, so it's nice and warm for when baby arrives. The next thing then is cloths. So 2. One is for sort of the forehead and neck. Like I said, you get really warm during labour. The other one, generally the darker coloured one, is for a nice warm compress at crowning. So if I decide not to actually go through the pushing phase and push my baby out in the birthing pool, applying a nice warm compress to the perineum during that sort of crowning phase as baby's head comes through the vagina and perineum, can really protect sort of the integrity of that area and reduce the likelihood of tearing, as well as being a lovely sort of soothing sensation as baby's head comes through. So making sure that you have 2 different colours is really important, and relaying that information to your care providers, but also your partner. And we are getting there. Last few bits, let me bring these a bit closer. Oh, these are just some little puppy training pads. I actually got these, they are open. I actually used one of these at the last birth I was at. I think we were kind of running low, so we had to grab into my stash. But these are for just sort of, again, having maybe on over the birthing ball if my waters have released. I've got a nice pack of maternity pads downstairs as well, but all about maintaining the integrity of the house so that when it comes to climbing into bed afterwards, I don't have to be worrying about any kind of mess at all. The next thing then is some nice candles. I've actually got some electric ones as well, but these are just from Tesco. The really big tea lights, so they'll kind of stay lit for quite a while. But I also love the LED version, so you don't have to be worrying about lighting them or them running out. But there's something about a little bit of lighting something on fire as a sort of ceremonial thing around birth. For pain relief, again, for my lower back, I love these in pregnancy actually as well. They featured in my second trimester must-haves, but these are actually the Voltarol ones. They are up to 8 hours of pain relief, so it's just a lower back sort of, I say lower back because that's where I apply mine, but it's sort of a heat patch. And generally speaking, I always recommend sort of a heat pack or a heated blanket for birth, but the problem with those is you have to hold them in place. So these are a new discovery of mine for labouring people, and they are fantastic. The last two bits then are really strong peppermints. These can be for you, but also for anyone who is supporting you in birth, to kind of give them a little pep in their step. But also if you are doing a lot of mouth breathing, or maybe you haven't brushed your teeth in quite a while, the last thing you want is pongy breath. So super duper strong peppermints is really lovely. It's also really nice to kind of soothe your tummy. So as a part of that, I've got my aromatherapy oils here. I plan on using rose essential oil for sort of early labour, and then moving on to sort of a clary sage if necessary to kind of amp things up, if kind of labour starts to peter off at any stage. And then peppermint oil is my absolute go-to for that nausea. Last time I was terribly nauseous during labour, and what I actually did was put a few drops of peppermint oil into whatever it was I was getting sick into, and it really, really helped. Or even just like a whiff of it directly from the bottle. These are a new company that I actually haven't bought from. They are the Me Aroma, and they're just really, really, really wonderful. Nice as well if you are in your first trimester. I think I did mention some sort of essential oils for that stage, or for that phase of pregnancy too. But I think that's everything. I think that's everything for the moment. I also have my sort of labouring outfit ready to go. So I plan on labouring actually in really comfortable, supportive activewear, and then just taking off the layers as I go along, and seeing what feels good. I'm so excited. It's getting to those final few weeks of getting closer to meet this baby, and I'm starting to feel really excited about giving birth again, which is a sure sign for me that I'm ready to meet this baby. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will make sure and link down below that sort of home birth checklist. Of course, like I said, you know, my midwife is bringing some things that I will not be bringing, like sort of cord clamps and you know, all the baby stuff we have tucked away as a separate, as that's in a separate container, but this is all stuff exclusively for me, and I'm so excited to do all of this. I haven't quite decided if I'm going to film the whole process or not, but if I do, you guys will be sure to know all about it. Make sure you are following me over on Instagram if you want to